Ladies and gentlemen, it's easy to talk about what we want to do. We dream about it, we plan for it, and we tell others about it. But here's the truth. Talk is cheap. Words mean nothing without action. You can say you want to start a business, get in shape, write a book, change your life, but until you take that first step, all you're doing is making noise. We live in a world where people love to announce their plans. Social media is filled with declarations. This is my year. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to start my dream job. I'm going to be better. But months go by and nothing happens. Why? Because talking about something is easy, but doing it requires effort, discipline, and consistency. Some people believe that talking about their plans is the same as making progress. They feel a sense of accomplishment just by saying what they intend to do. But intentions don't bring results. You don't get fit by talking about going to the gym. You don't make money by talking about starting a business. You don't build a strong relationship by saying you want to be a better friend, spouse, or parent. Real change only happens when action backs up those words. Think about the people you admire, the ones who inspire you. What stands out about them? Is it what they said they were going to do, or is it what they actually did? Successful people don't spend all their time talking about what they're planning. They just do it. They take steps, even when they're unsure, even when they're scared, even when they don't feel like it. They understand that action creates momentum, and momentum leads to result. So when you start taking action, even in small ways, things begin to shift. Maybe you don't have all the answers yet, but that doesn't matter. Too many people get stuck waiting for the perfect time, the perfect situation. They analyze and overthink until they talk themselves right out of moving forward. The truth is, there is no perfect time. The perfect time is now. Fear often keeps people in the talking stage. They're afraid of failing, of looking foolish, of not being good enough. So they stay in their comfort zone, convincing themselves that if they just plan a little longer or wait until they feel ready, then they'll take action. But waiting doesn't build confidence. Doing does. The more you act, the more confident you become. The more steps you take, the stronger you get. Some people talk so much about what they're going to do that they wear themselves out before they even begin. They mentally exhaust themselves with ideas and plans, but they never put in the work. And when they see others moving forward while they remain stuck, they get discouraged. But the only difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is action. Not talent, not luck. Not perfect circumstances, just action. So today, instead of talking about your goals, take a step toward them. Instead of telling people what you're going to do, let them see it. Let your actions be so strong that your words become unnecessary. Because when you do the work, when you show up, when you commit to taking action no matter what, the results will speak for themselves. You can believe in something all day long, but if you don't act on that belief, nothing will change. Faith isn't just sitting back hoping for things to happen. Faith is movement. Faith is stepping out, even when you don't see the whole picture. Faith is doing something, even when you don't have all the answers. A lot of people say they have faith, but they live as if they don't. They talk about what they believe in. They pray for change. They wish for better circumstances, but they never move. They wait for a sign, for a perfect moment, for absolute certainty before they take a step. But real faith doesn't wait for guarantees. It moves forward with trust. Imagine you're standing in front of a door and you believe there's something amazing on the other side. You can talk about it, you can hope for it, you can even pray about it. But until you reach out and turn the handle, you'll never step into what's waiting for you. Faith is not just believing that the door will open, it's taking the step to open it. Many people hesitate because they're afraid of failing. They think, what if I step out and things don't work? What if I try and I fall flat on my face? But the truth is, staying still is a bigger failure than trying and falling. At least when you try, you learn, you grow, and you move forward. When you do nothing, you stay in the same place. People often think that if something is meant to be, it will just happen. But that's not how faith works. Faith requires effort. If you want a better job, faith means applying, learning, growing, not sitting around waiting for an opportunity to fall into your lap. If you want to improve your health, faith means making better choices, showing up to exercise, pushing yourself to do what's necessary, not just hoping you'll wake up one day feeling stronger. Faith and action go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. If you believe something is possible, your actions should reflect that belief. If you say you trust that something will work out, your choices should align with that trust. Otherwise, it's not really faith, it's just wishful thinking. Think about someone building a bridge. They don't wait until they see the whole structure finished before they start laying the foundation. They begin with one piece, then another, trusting that as they continue, the full bridge will take shape. That's how life works. You don't always get to see the whole plan before you start. Sometimes you just have to take the first step, even when the rest isn't clear. Some people are waiting for all the conditions to be perfect before they act. They want to be sure before they move. But faith doesn't come with a blueprint. Faith means stepping into the unknown, trusting that the way will be made clear as you go. If you wait until everything is certain, you'll never start. Doubt will always try to stop you. It will whisper, what if this doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? But the only way to silence doubt is to take action in spite of it. The more steps you take, the quieter the doubts become. The more you move forward, the more your confidence grows. Faith isn't about having everything figured out. It's about trusting enough to take the next step, even when you don't know where it will lead. It's about believing that if you keep moving, doors will open, opportunities will come, and you'll get to where you're supposed to be. Excuses are one of the biggest reasons people stay stuck in life. They sound reasonable, they feel justifiable, and they give us a way out of taking responsibility. But no matter how good an excuse sounds, it doesn't change the fact that it's holding you back. Excuses don't move you forward. They keep you exactly where you are. How many times have you heard someone say, I'd start my business, but I don't have enough money, or I'd get in shape, but I don't have time, or I'd go after my dreams, but it's just not the right moment. These are all excuses disguised as reasons. The truth is, people make time for what they really want. They find a way when something matters to them. If something is important enough, you won't let an excuse stand in the way. Excuses are comfortable. They take the pressure off. They give us a way to avoid effort, risk, and discomfort. But comfort is the enemy of progress. You can't grow while staying in a place that feels safe. Growth requires stepping into the unknown, pushing past fear, and doing things that may not feel easy at first. People often blame their circumstances for why they can't move forward. Ian wasn't raised in the right environment. I don't have the right education. I don't have enough support. While these challenges may be real, they don't have to be permanent roadblocks. There are countless stories of people who came from nothing, faced obstacles, and still made something of themselves. The difference between them and those who stay stuck is that they refuse to let their excuses define them. You may not have control over where you started, but you have control over where you go from here. You may not have all the resources you wish you had, but you have something, and you can start with that. They wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect timing, or the perfect situation before they act. But perfection is a myth. If you're always waiting for the ideal moment, you'll be waiting forever. Excuses often mask fear, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. It's easier to say I can't than to admit I'm afraid. But fear doesn't have to stop you. The only way to overcome fear is to do the thing you're afraid of. The more you act, the less power fear is over you. The more you push forward, the stronger you become. You'll think about the times in your life when you pushed past an excuse. Maybe you didn't feel like working out, but you did it anyway. And afterward, you were glad you did. Maybe you thought you couldn't learn a new skill, but you tried. And now it's something you're good at. Growth happens when you stop giving yourself permission to stay the same. Excuses may feel like protection, but they are actually limitations. Every time you tell yourself you can't do something, you reinforce a belief that you're not capable. And the more you repeat that belief, the more it becomes your reality. If you keep saying, I don't have time, you'll never make time. If you keep saying, I'm not good enough, you'll never become good enough. What you tell yourself matters. Your words shape your mindset, and your mindset shapes your actions. The next time you catch yourself making an excuse, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or is this just a story I'm telling myself? More often than not, you'll realize that your excuse isn't a real barrier. It's just an obstacle you've accepted. And once you recognize that, you have the power to change it. When people think about change, they often picture something huge. They imagine a drastic transformation, losing 50 pounds overnight, making $1 million in a year, going from struggling to successful in an instant. But real change doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens in the small, consistent steps that most people overlook. Too often, people get overwhelmed because they focus on how far they have to go instead of just taking the next step. They think, I have so much weight to lose, I'll never get there. I have so much debt, I'll never be financially free. I have so many bad habits, I'll never change. And because the end goal seems so far away, they don't even start. But the truth is, the only way to reach a big goal is by taking small, steady steps in the right direction. Imagine standing at the bottom of a staircase and looking up. If you only focus on the top, it might seem impossible to reach. But if you focus on just one step at a time, suddenly it's not so overwhelming. You take one step, then another, and before you know it, you're halfway up. That's how change works. You don't have to do everything at once. You just have to do something. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that small steps don't matter. They believe that if they can't do something huge, then it's not worth doing at all. But small actions done consistently create momentum. That 5-minute workout may not seem like much, but if you do it every day, it adds up. That $10 you save today may not make you rich overnight, but over time, it grows. That one chapter you write may not seem like a full book, but it's a start. People want instant results, but growth doesn't work that way. A seed doesn't turn into a tree overnight. It takes time. It takes watering, patience, and persistence. The problem is most people give up before they see the results. They start something, but because they don't see change immediately, they assume it's not working. But success doesn't come from what you do once in a while. It comes from what you do consistently. Every successful person you see today started somewhere. They didn't wake up one morning with everything figured out. They took small steps, made small choices, and built their success over time. They stayed consistent even when they didn't feel like it. They kept going even when they didn't see immediate progress. And that's why they got to where they are. Think about the habits you have right now. The things you do every single day are shaping your future, whether you realize it or not. If you spend every day making excuses, you'll stay stuck. If you spend every day taking even one small step forward, you'll eventually get to where you want to be. It's not about making perfect progress. It's about making some progress. A lot of people wait for motivation before they take action. They think they need to feel ready before they start. But the truth is, motivation follows action, not the other way around. If you start doing something, even when you don't feel like it, you'll begin to build momentum. And once you see a little progress, you'll be motivated to keep going. The key to lasting change is consistency. It's not about doing something huge once. It's about doing something small every day. It's about deciding that no matter how slow the process feels, you're going to keep moving forward. Because small steps, when taken consistently, lead to the biggest changes of all. Starting something is exciting. It's easy to get fired up in the beginning. The energy is high, the vision is clear, and the motivation is strong. You make plans, set goals, and dream about the result. But as time goes on, that initial excitement fades, the process becomes harder than expected, obstacles arise, and suddenly, what started with so much enthusiasm feels like a burden. This is where most people stop. They don't follow through. They start, but they don't finish. Think about how many people start things with good intentions. They start a diet, but when they don't see results fast enough, they quit. They start a workout routine, but when it gets difficult, they stop. They start a business, but when challenges come, they walk away. They start a book, a project, a new habit, but somewhere along the way, they give up. Starting is easy. Finishing is rare. There is a difference between people who dream and people who achieve. Dreamers talk about what they want to do. Achievers do the work even when it's hard. They push through the discomfort, the boredom, the setbacks, and the struggles. They keep going when most people quit. That's why they succeed, because they refuse to give up when things get tough. Finishing requires commitment. It means deciding that no matter how long it takes, no matter how many challenges come, you're not going to stop until it's done. It means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means pushing through the frustration, the slow progress, and the moments of doubt. Too many people let feelings dictate their actions. They start strong, but the moment they lose motivation, they stop trying. But success isn't about feelings, it's about discipline. When you finish what you start, you build confidence. Every time you complete something, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted to follow through. You develop a habit of persistence. You create a mindset that refuses to quit. And over time, that mindset shapes your entire life. You stop looking for excuses and start finding ways to keep going. Look at the most successful people in any area: business, sports, health, relationships. They all have one thing in common: they finish. They don't let obstacles stop them. They don't let failures define them. They don't let slow progress discourage them. They stay the course no matter how long it takes. One of the biggest reasons people don't finish is because they get distracted. They jump from one thing to another, always chasing the next exciting idea. They start something, but before they complete it, they move on to something else. This cycle keeps them in a constant state of starting but never succeeding, and never see the full reward of their efforts because they don't stick with anything long enough to reach the finish line. Finishing doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It doesn't mean everything will go smoothly. It just means you refuse to stop until you accomplish what you set out to do. Even if it takes longer than expected, even if it looks different than you imagined, even if you face setbacks, you keep going. Because the only way to truly fail is to quit. People admire finishers, the ones who don't just talk about what they're going to do, but actually do it. The ones who keep their word, follow through, and complete what they start. These are the people who make an impact, who inspire others, who create real change. Not because they were the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest, but because they simply refused to give up.